this white brown land. Seen a thing or two from the great outback on the beaten track. Let me share it now with you.
More than 9 million people have migrated to Australia since 1788. On the 26th of January 1788, the British First Fleet ships landed at Sydney Cove to establish a penal colony. This day later became known as Australia Day, or to the Indigenous people, Invasion Day. It marked the beginning of immigration to Australia.
On your knees! You know what? Welcome to your new home, you convicts!
The Gold Rush era began in 1851 and saw an enormous expansion in population, including large numbers of British and Irish settlers, followed by smaller numbers of Germans and other Europeans. There was also a great influx of Chinese immigrants who were subjected to increasing restrictions and discrimination, which made it hard for many of them to remain in the country.
So glad we made it here. It was such a long journey.
I hope we strike it rich and find some gold.
Hey, what's this? Eureka! Woohoo!
In 1901, the colonies joined and Australia became a single nation.
Today marks a memorable day in our nation's history. Today we join forces and become one nation, Australia.
Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi!
One of the first acts of a new Commonwealth government was the Immigration Restriction Act, also known as the White Australia Policy. The White Australia Policy strengthened and unified strongly disparate colonial policies designed to restrict non-white settlement. To screen people, the government employed a dictation test as a means of sorting English speakers, migrants from those who were less wanted.
Please spell pie.
P-G-T-S.
Now please spell apple.
A-P-H-I-T-S.
Now please spell white people rule.
Bully.
The next group to arrive were 5,000 Jewish refugee families from Germany in 1938. Approved groups such as these were assured entry into the country by being issued with a certificate of exemption from the dictation test.
We escaped Hitler. We made it!
After World War II, Australia launched a massive immigration program, believing that having narrowly avoided invasion by the Japanese, Australia must populate or perish. British people migrated to Australia under the Assisted Migration Scheme, paying only £10 in processing fees to travel to and set up a new life in Australia. To qualify, you just needed to be two things: in sound health and under the age of 45. These were the only restrictions, making immigration fairly straightforward. However, under the White Australia Policy, people from mixed race backgrounds found it difficult to take advantage of the scheme.
Sir, you dropped your... It's £10. We could go to Australia.
Following the end of the Vietnam War, more than 90,000 refugees from Vietnam, Cambodia and Laos were granted permission to resettle in Australia. These were the first boat people.
Ooh, I can't wait to get out of this war. Yeah, I'm thinking Lebanon. Oh, well, I'm on the next plane to Australia.
Around 1970, there was a fundamental change in immigration policy, and for the first time since the first British migrants arrived in Australia in 1788. There were more people wanting to migrate than the government was willing to accept. As all subsidies were abolished, immigration became increasingly hard. The new system was implemented considered factors like family ties, occupation and skills, as Australia looked to pick up and choose skilled workers from a broad range of countries. Asylum or freedom seekers looking to travel to Australia by their own means are now sent to detention camps, where they are given basic food and shelter.